Hey everyone, welcome to another video, and in this video we'll talk about the functions and DataWeave. And functions, if you are aware of any other languages in programming, functions we use to make our code reusable across our code. Okay, so like suppose you have to perform an action, suppose you have to perform some logic and you have to do it again and again. You'll just define a function and you can use it. You can use the reference of that function and apply that logic anywhere else in the code. So there are certain ways with which we can define functions. So first of all, we have named functions. By the way, this is the DataWeave playground. Okay, you can search on Google and you can easily land on this page. Okay, now again, like this, how do we declare a function in Mulesoft? So it's a very easy way that you just have to write this fun keyword, then you have to add the function name, and then the arguments, equal sign, and then the body. So here is an example. So again, fun keyword, function name is add. It will take in two arguments, n and m, and it will return the sum of these two arguments. Okay, so like if I go, yeah, there is one more example. uh, so this is a function, okay, and this is the method name. It will take an argument n. Now you can see we are passing an array in this function. So what it does is it's going to take the first value and the last value, and it's going to return the difference between those values. So here we have an exercise. Okay, create is odd num function that receives one parameter and returns true if it is an odd number. So let's see how we can do that. So I'll just go and I'll say, okay, we have a function, the name is odd num, and it will take an argument n, and it will return whether it is an odd number or not. Okay, so for odd number, what we do is we usually take n modulo 2. Let me just, yeah, n mod 2. Now this will return, so suppose if it's an odd number like 3, it will return 1. So if it returns 1, then it will be an odd number. Okay, now this is our payload. Okay, we have to see if this value is odd or not. So I'm just gonna write, just gonna take the reference of this, and we're gonna remove this, and yeah, let's see. So payload dot value, just let me write it like this. Yeah, so you can see that what we did was we defined a function, we set the name, we set the argument, we set the logic, and we just call that function. Now another way we can define our functions is without actually giving it a name. So these are called lambda functions. Okay, so lambda functions are essentially the values only. Okay, you can see a lambda is a value in DataWeave, just like a string, an object, or boolean. So how do you define it? So here it is, uh, so suppose if we are passing no, if we're passing no arguments and we're saying, just do 2 plus 3, it will give us error. Okay, now what is the right way to write this function? So here it is. So first of all, what we did, we defined the function, and then these extra set of parentheses, you can see we are using this to call it. Okay, now if we can see, and the reason why this is giving an error, see, lambda functions are values. Okay, you have to use it as a value. So what we do is we assign it to a variable like this. Okay, and then we, now this variable is a sort of, you can say that, okay, whenever we call this variable with a set of arguments, it will perform the logic of that function. So you can see that, okay, we are creating a variable lambda which is equals to a, it will take in two arguments a and b, and it will return the sum of those. So lambda 2 plus 3. Yeah, now there is an exercise, create and call a lambda function that does the same as the is_odd_num function from the previous exercise. So what we can do is, instead of 2, we'll just take in one argument, and we'll just say that, hey, a mod 2 is equals to 1. Okay, now here what we'll do is we'll just pass payload dot value. Yeah, so you can see again we called this lambda and we passed one argument and it performed the logic for us. Now since lambdas are, we discussed lambdas are lambdas are values, so we'll use these function as values. Okay, so there is one more so let's look at the example. Okay, so filter is one more inbuilt methods, one of the inbuilt methods. What it does is it takes two arguments like numbers, which is obviously this array 1 to 5, and it will take one more argument, which in our case is, you can see this is a lambda function. Okay, so we're passing a function as a value in this function. So what it does is it will execute this logic for each and every value in the numbers. Like for 1 it will check, for 2 it will check. So it is checking the odd number. Okay, so it will return all the odd numbers in this numbers array. Okay, now there is one more example. Yeah, again it's the same example. Now there is an exercise for us. Filter this given array so it contains only numbers that are greater than 3 using a lambda, of course. So there is a filter. Okay, and we have our payload, which is obviously this array. Now we have to make sure that the values which are greater than 3 are returned. Okay, so we'll replace this logic completely and we'll simply write, okay, we'll simply write n greater than 3. Yeah, so you can see it is correct. Now moving on, so this is another way to write sort of it's just another variation of functions as value. What here we are doing is, so in function as value, what we were doing is we called this function and we passed numbers argument and another argument, which is in turn a function. Now what we're doing is, first of all we are using the argument, then the function name, then another argument. So in our case, where what we're doing is we're taking numbers as a prefix, so we're using numbers and then we're using filter and then our second argument, which is a lambda function. So it's just another way to write this. Okay, now if you can see, this is a much more complex. So what it does is it says numbers, filter, and this logic. Okay, now whatever the result of this function would be, numbers, filter, and this logic, it will again be passed on as an argument for this second filter function. So whatever result is, it will give us the all the odd numbers. Okay, 1 to 5, 1, 3, 5. Okay, and then that 135 array will again be filtered based on this condition, that is greater than 3. So at the end it will return us this 5. Let me show you how it happens. Okay, let's just again copy this. Let me copy this. Okay, yeah, so here it is. So if we remove this, okay, if we just remove this, you can see we got 135. Now this 135 return is in turn an argument. We're passing, instead of numbers we are passing this 135, and again we apply this filter, it will return us 5. Okay, so now there is an exercise for us. Filter this given array to contain only numbers that are multiples of 5 using a lambda with infix notation. Okay, so we'll just remove everything. Okay, and oh yeah, okay, so we have got payload. We'll use the infix notation. Okay, we'll say that payload, which is an array. Okay, we'll use filter, and we have got item and index. Now we need item mod 5. Now this again is like something, a value, it should be 0. So yeah, there you go, all the multiples of 5 are returned here. Okay, now there is one more interesting thing with this functions is that we can use these notations in a function. So how can we do that? So you can read, for functions that DataWeave provides, you can represent the first, second, and third arguments of the passed lambda as dollar, double dollar, and triple dollars. So okay, let's see. So number filter dollar mod 2 is equals to 1. So again, it's like, what are the odd numbers? It will return those only. So first, obviously there will only be one argument, so we are using $1. Okay, let's see if we have another example for $2. Okay, we don't have. So it says let's go to exercise directly. Using the dollar sign syntax, filter the following array so it only contains users whose name starts with C. You can use the starts with, okay, this function, that returns true or false depending on whether the input string starts with a matching prefix. Okay, that's cool. Let's go ahead and say, first of all, it says whose name starts with dot name starts with C. Okay, okay, we have to use the filter. Okay, let's use this filter criteria. Let's, instead of this, we'll just use payload filter dollar dollar dot name starts with C. Let's just remove this. Yeah, you got it. So you see what we did? We said, okay, just apply this filter function on the payload, and whatever the first argument is, like this object that we're getting. I'm sorry. Yeah, this thing. This is enclosed in dollar, and I'm saying that dot name, which is this, and check that if it starts with C, then just return those elements. Okay, so yeah, that's the result. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and if you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.